Worry does not knock before it enters. It is already inside when you realize it is there. You did not invite it this Saturday morning. You did not sit down and decide to spend the first hours of the weekend rehearsing what is wrong. It simply moved in, ahead of the coffee, ahead of the first deliberate thought of the day, ahead of any decision about how this morning would be spent. The worry was already there, already running, already shaping the texture of a day that had not yet begun. That is what worry does. It colonizes. And the mind it colonizes is not an empty vessel that passively receives what is poured into it. It is a living space, an environment. And the environment of the mind determines almost everything about how the day unfolds. The conversations held, the decisions made, the quality of presence brought to the people who share the Saturday, the way difficulty is received when it arrives. All of it shaped by what is occupying the interior space when the day begins. A mind occupied by worry produces a certain kind of day. A mind occupied by God produces a different one. This is Saturday, April 4th, and you are here before the worry has had a chance to fully set the agenda for the day, before it has assessed the weekend and rendered its verdict on what this Saturday will hold and whether the person facing it is equipped to handle it. You came here first. That is not a small thing. That is the most important decision of this morning. His word declares in the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, verse 7, to cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. All. Not the portion you have decided is too big to handle alone, not the specific worries that feel spiritually acceptable to bring before God, while the embarrassing ones stay hidden. All. The big ones and the small ones, the named and the nameless, the ones with clear objects and the ones that are just a low-level unease without a specific address, all cast now. Before we enter this prayer, write in the comments right now, I surrender every worry to God today. He guides my mind and I trust his peace. Write it before the worry has had the morning to establish itself. Because what is declared in faith at the start of a Saturday morning tends to shape what the day becomes. Like this video, as an act of choosing God's peace over the worry that arrived before you were ready for it. Subscribe to this channel so we can begin every morning together, including the Saturdays that start heavy, and share this prayer with someone whose weekend began with more in their mind than a weekend was designed to carry. Now let us surrender every worry before the day carries it further. Lord my God and my Father, I come before you on this Saturday morning with a mind that has already been visited by worry before I came here. You know what it has been running, the concerns that the week left behind and that the weekend inherited, the things I have been turning over without resolution, the fears that arrived quietly and made themselves comfortable in a space that was meant for something different. I bring all of it before you now, named and unnamed, resolved and unresolved. I open the hands that have been holding it and I lay it at your feet, all of it, before this day goes any further. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 22, to cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. Sustain, not just help me cope. Sustain, undergird. Provide what is needed to actually hold through the day without being defined by what I was worried about when it started. And Father, I want to name something about Saturday worry that weekday worry does not quite have. During the week, the structure carries you forward. The momentum of the schedule moves the person through the worry because there is never time to sit in it. Saturday removes the structure. And in the absence of structure, the mind does not fill with peace. It fills with whatever was waiting for space to breathe. Saturday does not create new worries. It simply gives the existing ones room to reveal their actual size, which is why this prayer matters most on the mornings when the pace slows. The Saturday morning prayer is not a nice addition to the weekend. It is what prevents the weekend from becoming the week's anxiety without the structure to manage it. So I come here with all of it, Lord. Everything the week compressed, and everything the Saturday morning has already started expanding. I bring it to you before it gets bigger than the day deserves to hold. Father, I want to name what surrender actually feels like for a mind that has been carrying worry for a while. It feels like risk, not relief, risk. Because the worried mind has built a relationship with its worries. It believes at some level that the worrying is doing something useful, that the attention given to the concerning thing is a form of care for it, that to stop worrying about it is to stop taking it seriously. That surrender is not trust. Surrender is negligence. That is the lie the worried mind believes about itself. The worrying is not managing the situation. It is consuming the person. The rehearsal is not preparing for the difficulty. It is spending today's resources on tomorrow's imagined version of it. The vigilance is not protecting what is loved. It is exhausting the one who loves it. Surrender is not negligence. It is the most responsible thing available, because surrender does not place the concerning thing in an empty space. It places it in the hands of the God who sees what the worrying mind cannot, who holds what the worrying mind cannot hold, who works in the situation while the worrying mind is busy running scenarios. Surrender does not abandon the thing. It hands it to someone more qualified. Your word declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 46, verse 4, that God says, I have made you and I will carry you. I will sustain you and I will rescue you. I will carry you. That is not metaphor. That is a statement about who is doing the weight bearing. He carries, not helps carry, carries. The weight of what has been worrying the mind does not have to stay on the person who brought it to God. It can be transferred fully. Right now, I surrender every worry to God today. He guides my mind, and I trust His peace. So, Father, I surrender the specific things that have been occupying the most mental space. I name them in my heart before you. The relationship that has been unsettled, the financial concern that has been pressing, the health situation that has been waiting, the decision that has been deferred too long, the outcome I have been trying to control from a distance through sheer mental effort, each one, named, placed in your hands, and I receive in the space they leave the one thing that fills it better than worry ever did, your peace, active, present, now. And Lord, I want to ask for something that surrender makes possible, but holding on prevents. I want to ask for new eyes on the situation I've been worrying about, because the worried mind sees the situation through the lens of everything that could go wrong, every angle the anxiety has examined, every worst-case scenario that has been run and rerun until the mind knows them all by heart. And from inside that lens, the situation looks a specific way, threatening, heavy, more than the person can manage. But the surrendered mind gets something the worried mind never receives. It gets to see the situation from a different vantage point, not from inside the anxiety, from outside it, in the presence of a God who sees the whole picture, including the parts the anxiety cropped out. And what is visible from that vantage point is almost always larger than what worry allowed the mind to see. More grace, more open space, more evidence of a God who was already in the situation before the worry identified it as a problem. Your word declares in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 6, verse 17, that when the servant's eyes were opened, he saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire. The protection was already there. The servant's worried view simply could not hold it. Lord, open my eyes this Saturday morning to what the worried view has been cropping out. Let me see what has been there all along. Lord, I want to pray now about what a guided mind looks like on a Saturday, because guided is different from controlled. A controlled mind is a defended mind. It manages what enters and suppresses what it cannot allow. It works hard. It exhausts itself. It keeps the unacceptable things at bay through effort and discipline. And on a Saturday morning, when the defenses are down and the week's structure is gone and the mind is less occupied than it was on Tuesday, the controlled mind is particularly vulnerable. The things it has been holding back find the reduced resistance and move in. A guided mind is different. It does not hold things back through force. It is oriented. It has a direction it is facing. And things that try to move in from the other direction have to contend with the orientation rather than the resistance. God guides the mind not by emptying it of what worries it. He guides it by filling it with something that reorients it toward what is true. Your word declares in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8, that whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Think about such things. That is not an avoidance of difficulty. It is an orientation of the mind toward what is real alongside what is difficult. The difficulty is still there. The mind has just been given something stronger to face toward. And on a Saturday, that orientation produces something practical. It produces presence. The guided mind is actually in the day. Not half here and half in the week's leftover concerns, not physically in the room but mentally 2 weeks ahead, actually present, receivable, available to the people and the moments the Saturday holds. That presence is a gift to the people who share your weekend. They do not receive a distracted version of you. They receive a person who has been with God this morning and whose mind has been guided toward what is actually here rather than what has been worrying it. And Father, I want to ask for the guided mind in the specific interactions this Saturday holds, because the mind that has been occupied by worry shows up differently in relationship. It is present, but not available. It engages, but does not fully land. The person in front of it senses they are not receiving the full attention, even if they cannot articulate why. That is what worry costs in relationship, not just the person carrying it, the people who share their space. The guided mind shows up differently. It is actually here. The conversation actually lands. The person in the room actually feels received. Let me be that kind of present today, Lord. Not perfect, not performing, just actually here. And Father, I want to ask for the guided mind to produce something in me this Saturday that the worried mind never can. I want to ask for patience, real patience, not the patience of someone white-knuckling their way through a difficult interaction. The patience that comes from a mind that is not running on depleted reserves because the worry has spent what patience draws from. The patient person has interior space, room to receive what is difficult without immediately reacting to it, room to hear what someone is saying before formulating the response, room to let the frustration be what it is without letting it become the governing thing in the exchange. The worried mind has no such space. It is already full. And the full mind is the impatient mind, the one that reacts faster than it should because there is nothing left to absorb the impact of what arrives. Surrender creates the space that patience requires. When the worry has been placed in God's hands, the interior opens. And in the opening, something becomes possible in relationship that the crowded mind could not produce. Genuine patience, the kind that does not cost the person something they do not have. The kind that is available because the thing that was consuming it has been released to someone who does not get impatient with what he holds. Your word declares in the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 22, that the fruit of the Spirit includes love, joy, peace, patience. Patience is a fruit. It is produced by the Spirit's presence in a surrendered mind, not manufactured by the person through effort, grown over time. In a mind that has repeatedly been brought to God and repeatedly released what it was carrying. That is the kind of patience I am asking for today. I surrender every worry to God today. He guides my mind, and I trust His peace. Father, I want to ask you now for something specific about the rest of this Saturday. I want to ask for the grace to enjoy it, not manage it, Not survive it, not move through it in the posture of someone bracing for what comes next. Actually enjoy it. Receive the hours of a Saturday as the gift they were designed to be, not as the container for all the concerns the week left unresolved. That seems simple, it is not, because enjoyment requires presence, and presence requires trust. The person who has genuinely surrendered the worries of the week to God can be in the Saturday in a way that the person still carrying them cannot. The surrendered mind has created space for the day to actually land, for the conversation over breakfast to be a real conversation rather than a backdrop to internal processing, for the afternoon to be received rather than endured, for the ordinary beauty of a Saturday in April to be noticed by a mind that is not too busy worrying to see it. Before the first time today, the worry tries to reclaim what this prayer took from it. Stop. Breathe. Say it quietly. I surrendered that. God is holding it. And then let the Saturday be what it is. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 4, to delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Delight. That is an active, present tense, fully here word. Not endure, not press through. Delight. The person who has brought the worries to God and actually left them there is free to delight, free to receive what this Saturday is offering. Free to be genuinely glad in the day the Lord has made, rather than merely surviving the day the worry has been describing. Let me delight today, Lord, in the ordinary, in the people, in the small graces that a Saturday in April holds for the person paying attention to them. And Father, let the surrender I made in this prayer hold through the day, not by my effort, but by yours. Because the worry will try to come back. It always does. The mind, trained by weeks of practice in rehearsing its concerns, does not change the habit in a single prayer. The worry will knock on the door of the afternoon, the evening, the moment just before sleep. When it does, remind me of this morning. Remind me that I placed it in your hands and you took it, not temporarily, not on loan. I gave it, and what was given to God is no longer mine to carry. And Lord, I want to ask for something that the enjoyed Saturday produces that the managed Saturday never does. I want to ask for genuine gratitude, not the gratitude of someone trying to feel better, the gratitude of someone who is actually receiving the day rather than moving through it, because there is something specific in April that belongs to the present tense mind. The light is different in early April than it was in March. The air carries something that winter withheld. The world is doing something that it does only at this time of year, and that will be different by May. And the person whose mind has been surrendered and guided and freed from the occupation of worry has the interior space to actually receive it, to notice it, to be moved by it. The worried mind moves through April Saturday without collecting April Saturday. It passes through the day like a person walking through a garden with their eyes closed. Everything is there to receive. Nothing is received. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 118, verse 24, that this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This day, this one. This April Saturday, with everything it holds and everything it offers and every small grace that is present in it, for the person paying attention, be glad in it, not in spite of the concerns, in it as it is, while the concerns are held by someone else. Let me be glad today, Lord. Genuinely, in the actual day that is actually here, I surrender every worry to God today. He guides my mind, and I trust his peace. Father, as this prayer moves toward its close, I want to receive something about peace that the worry has been crowding out. Worry and peace cannot fully coexist. They occupy the same space, and the mind that has been full of worry has been short on peace, not because peace was unavailable, but because the worry was already in the space where peace would have lived. When the worry is surrendered, the space opens, And what fills it is not emptiness. It is not the neutral absence of a difficult thing. It is the active presence of something given. Your word declares in the book of John, chapter 14, verse 27, that the peace Jesus gives is not as the world gives. The world gives peace conditionally, when the circumstances cooperate, when the concerns are resolved, when the outcome is confirmed. That peace is fragile. It disappears the moment the conditions change. What Jesus gives is different. It does not wait for the circumstances to cooperate. It arrives in the middle of unresolved things. It holds in situations where the world's version of peace would have already dissolved. It surpasses understanding, which means it does not require the mind to first make sense of everything before it is permitted to enter. It arrives before the understanding. It produces the quiet that the understanding cannot produce. That is what is available in the space the worry just vacated. Not a temporary absence of concern. The active, living, durable peace of a God who is present in what was worrying the mind and who has not lost a moment's composure over any of it. Receive that now, not as a feeling being manufactured, as a truth being accepted. The peace is here. It was always here. The worry was just louder than it for a while. And I want to stay in that truth for a moment before the prayer closes. The worry was louder than the peace. That is the description of many mornings, many weeks, many seasons of life. The worry was louder, not stronger. Louder. And louder is not the same as truer. The peace of God is truer than the worry. It is more stable, more permanent, more anchored in what is actually real about the situation than the worry, which is anchored in what is feared, what might happen, what could go wrong. The peace is anchored in what is actually the case about the God who holds the situation. And what is actually the case is that He is faithful, He is present, He is not alarmed. And the situation that has been alarming the mind is held in hands that are not alarmed by it. The worry was loud. The peace is true. Your word declares in the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 13, that the God of hope will fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Overflow. That is not just enough peace for yourself, enough that it reaches the people around you, enough that the Saturday that was beginning in worry ends in something that spills over onto the people you love. That is the transformation a surrendered morning can produce in a single day, from occupied by worry to overflowing with peace. Not because everything resolved, because something was surrendered and something better took its place. I surrender every worry to God today. He guides my mind, and I trust His peace. That is the declaration for this Saturday. Not that the concerns are resolved, that they have been placed in hands more capable than the mind that was carrying them. Not that the weekend will be without difficulty, that the difficulty will be held by a God who does not lose His orientation when the circumstances are hard. Not that the peace is permanent, regardless of what happens. That the peace is available now for the person who has surrendered the worry that was keeping it out. To everyone who prayed with me this morning, go back to the comments and write it one final time. I surrender every worry to God today. He guides my mind, and I trust His peace. Return to that when the afternoon tries to return the worry that this morning released. Subscribe to this channel and come back tomorrow morning. We are here every day, including Sunday, including the mornings when the weekend needs a reset before it is halfway through. Share this prayer with someone who started this Saturday already carrying what a Saturday should not have to hold. What you send might change the entire texture of their weekend. May the Lord guide your mind today into the peace that does not wait for resolution to arrive. May every worry surrendered in this prayer stay surrendered through every hour of this Saturday. May the space created by the surrender be filled with something more real than what it replaced. And may you discover somewhere in the ordinary hours of this April Saturday that the mind that has been guided by God moves through the day differently than the mind that was left to manage itself. In Jesus' name, amen.